I thought I would show you some software that I've been developing for creating test data. The purpose is to have data to validate the models that we are creating. First of all, I'm looking at creating test data to validate a Moorpork or Ruru model. So I first had a problem of deciding which recordings to use, which would be a fair example of recordings with or without Moorporks, and in the end I decided that we would just keep all the recordings from all of March for validation. So from now on we shouldn't use any recordings from March 2020 to create models, but I will start creating ground truth, I suppose, of what's in those recordings. So there's about 7,000 recordings from nighttime, quite a lot of recordings to go through. So I've written this application which we can see on screen, in the top half of the screen, which is showing a spectrogram for the whole minute, 0 to 60 or 62 seconds, and the idea here is that you can quickly see what is in the recording. The spectrogram is limited between the frequency here of 700 Hz to 1100 Hz, because that's the range of frequency that the Moorpork does its classic Moorpork call. 900 Hz here shows where the blue line is. We can see which is the current recording. We can go and pick particular recordings to look at, but we won't do that at the moment. We can play the recording. We can stop. We can choose a place to play. I've got the recording filtered to only play the sounds between 700 and 1100 Hz. We can tag the recordings with different things. I'm going to pretty much just look for Moorporks. I haven't got time at the moment to pick out everything else on the recordings. When we change to the next recording, we're going to use the mark as analyze. So this will keep a note of which recordings I've already listened to. So down here is a view of the database. This is not part of my application, this is just a look at the SQLite database, and we can see here in the table these are the recordings, and I've looked for Moorporks in these recordings. So in future we can say that we've looked for other things in these recordings. And then the actual things I've found, here we can see that in this recording I found a possible Moorpork. This recording here I have found a Moorpork. So if we just put it on to play automatically, and then I go to the next one, and if you hadn't guessed, in true Blue Peter fashion, if you have seen the children's TV show Blue Peter from the UK, here is an example of one I've made earlier, and over here you can see what is, I'm pretty sure, a Moorpork. So we could just click over here and have a listen. So 3 Moorpork calls. So if I want to select that that's a Moorpork, I'll get a message saying I haven't said what I want to mark it as, so I will click on the radio button to say it's the Moorpork call, and now I'm going to select those 3 there. and the database will be updated. If we go here and have a look, we should, at the moment I've got 48 and we've got an extra 351, so they've been inserted into the database. So currently this is just focused on finding the classic morepork calls, but it can easily be used for keeping note of other calls in the recording.